Since the involvement of NASCAR superstars Dale Earnhardt Jr., Kevin Harvick, Jeff Burton, and Justin Marks, the notoriety of the Cars Tour and its competitors has skyrocketed. The racing speaks for itself because it's true, grassroots, hard-nosed late model racing at its best. And we're here to bring that action to light. This is On Tour. Welcome to On Tour. My name is Buddy Pulley, co-host of the Big Motor Small Blade podcast, joined, of course, by my co-host on this show, lead Cars Tour reporter for FrontStretch.com, Chase Folsom, or of course, we know him on his channel, it's Chuck. Chuck, we did not go to Ace, but the series went to Ace, but that's not what we're covering to start off. We're going all the way back to North Wilkesboro. Treyten Lapcevich, as you heard on the show last week, he was disqualified from North Wilkesboro. His first career Cars Tour victory taken away. That penalty has been rescinded and adjusted. Treyten Lapcevich is the winner from North Wilkesboro Speedway, but he does not get awarded the money or the points for doing so. Chuck, I know you have some strong opinions on this. Tell the people what's your take on this whole deal.
Yeah,
It's a rigmarole, man.
I don't know what to make of it, dude, because in my opinion, this would be different if the penalty was assessed after on-track actions.
Okay.
However, there were no on-track actions. There was a car that whooped everybody's butt at the end of a race, cleared tech, according to the team, did not have any parts confiscated, and then was deemed illegal later in the week.
Do we know what parts were
It was the rear end.
Okay.
It's the rear end.
Do we know exactly what in the rear end?
If I'm not mistaken, it was the fact that they were running a Ford 9-inch rear end compared to your typical quick change.
Okay.
So,
are you able to explain the difference?
I'm not able to explain the difference, but I can tell you somebody a lot smarter than me, also known as Matt Weaver, said all you have to do is look at it from 10 feet away and tell the difference.
Okay, got you.
It's very clear.
We'll ask about that at Wake.
So, I'm not like disclosing private information. Treyten said on Twitter, we had no parts confiscated.
Okay.
So I'm going to take that for what it's worth. And so you penalize a guy. Okay. You take his win away. If the appeal is won in this situation for a tech infraction that was reversed, meaning there was no tech infraction, why would he not be given back the full credit of the win? Because you're essentially still penalizing him, but what are you penalizing him for? That's what I would love an explanation from the series, because I don't want to knock the series. I don't want to tear the series down. I don't want to portray them in a bad light. I would just like a better explanation. And I think this falls on them to clear up the muddy water and say, this is why we're doing it this way. And I don't know if this was an appeals panel choice or the series choice specifically, but either way, it doesn't make any sense to me to reverse a tech infraction and not just restore the entirety of the win.
But essentially, Treyten Lapcevich was wrongfully convicted, served jail time, got out, and was not compensated for it.
Basically.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure,
to put it in layman's terms,
I'm pretty sure that team would way much rather have their points and money back than a little thing in the record books that says, hey, you won North Wilkesboro.
Yeah. I'm sure it means a lot to Treyten Lapcevich. It is North Wilkesboro.
Right.
But this is not the Cup Series. They don't have multi-million-dollar sponsorships behind them. They have what they can get, and they get to the racetrack. That is their main objective. Get to the racetrack and compete. And that prize money is everything to them.
Yeah, and Chad Bryant's not a schmuck that's just throwing together a race car. Chad Bryant knows what he's doing. There's sponsorship there, but still, like you said, it does cost money to run these race cars, and there's not a constant infiltration of money. And they would go from, I believe they're either 52 or 58. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're 50-something points back in the championship. They'd go to roughly 25 back.
Yeah.
If they got their points back.
Well within reach.
Yeah, that's a whole race.
Considering what we see on a weekly basis in the with the points contenders in the car stores.
Exactly.
He would be well within reach of this championship.
So I don't know. I don't agree with it. I'd like a better explanation as to why that was the ultimate decision made. I,
Are we going to seek a better explanation at Wake County?
yes.
That's our objective. Okay.
Yes, that is our objective. Because I mean, like I said, if they have a legitimate reason, I just want to know. I don't ever want to tear the series down. I just want a clear explanation of why a decision was made so that people aren't confused.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially since he was awarded the win that night. Then the win was taken away, and here we are. We are 2 weeks plus removed from North Wilkesboro, and we're just now getting this all settled.
Right.
And it still doesn't seem fair in a lot of people's eyes.
Yeah.
So, um, so that will be a developing story that we continue to try to get more information about. Meantime, we did have a car store race at a speedway. Neither one of us were able to attend, unfortunately. We didn't even have boots on the ground at a speedway, but nevertheless, we did see a fantastic race. So let's take a look at the results from. Give me the town name again, Chuck. Come on, say it for me.
Altamaha, North
Alt-
Carolina.
Altamaha, North Carolina, at Ace Speedway. Taking a look at the results from the ZMAX Cars Tour Accelerated Graphics 125 at Ace Speedway, it was Brent Crews in the 29 KHI machine scoring his third victory of the season. Minnie Tyrell finishes second. He finished third at Wilkesboro last week. Maybe this weekend at Wake County Speedway will be his day to step back on the top of the podium. Caden Quapple, filling in for his brother Carson, finishes third. Butterbean recovers from a penalty to finish fourth, and points leader Connor Hall rounds out your top five. Chad McCumbee, he recovered from a penalty as well to finish sixth. Buddy Alves Jr. with a strong top 10 finish finishes seventh. Isabella Robusto in eighth, and officially North Wilkesboro winner Treyten Lapcevich finishes ninth. Connor Jones spun out from the lead, but he finishes in the 10th position. Landon Lewis in the KHI 62 finishes 11th, Cade Brown in 12th, Brandon Pierce in 13th, Ryan Millington, after that great battle with Butterbean, he finishes in the 14th position. Dylan Harvall, who had a hard crash, finishes in the 15th position. Ronnie Bassett Jr. in 16th, Blake Stallings in the 17th position, Bobby McCarty in 18th, Heath Causey in 19th, and Dean Ward rounds out the top 20. Shotgun on the field is the number 7 of Dylan Ward, finishing in the 21st position. So as you saw there, Brent Crews got his third victory of the season. After not being much of a factor all night, he got a front row seat to all the action that we enjoyed on Flow Racing. Chuck, it was a full-blown grandma put a tag on your denture swap meet at the front of the pack between Ryan Millington and Butterbean.
Dude, that was some of the best racing. We say this every week. I sound like a broken record, but again, it was some of the best racing I've ever seen. And they just couldn't get away from each other. As soon as one guy would get the bump and run, he'd clear him, and well, you know what's coming the next corner. That guy that just got passed is going to send it right back in there. And that's what they kept doing. Ryan Millington, I don't know if they put this in the highlights because I didn't watch the highlights. I watched it live.
Yeah.
Was pulling off this insane crossover move off turn 4.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, he would like jab the brake pedal and just cut it left.
He could get off the corner lower than anybody else. And that was a hard move for Butterbean to defend. We saw multiple times Butterbean trying to pinch him off, and he could not do it.
Yeah. I mean, Ryan's got a lot of laps around Ace, so if there's
Yeah.
anybody that knows how to get around there, it's Ryan Millington.
And if you look at it, he led it over 100 laps at Ace earlier this year, correct?
I think so.
Yeah. And he was very good at Hickory.
Now, 121 at Hickory and then 67 again at Ace.
Okay. So if you look at it, at least from my eyes, Ace, Hickory and Ace, very different racetracks, but they do have something in common. They are flatter short tracks. They're flatter. You can get the turn off the corner from putting 2 wheels down on the apron, maybe even 4.
Yeah.
And it's a common thing with Ryan Millington and the way he drives, and he does it just about better than anybody else.
Well, they're also both tracks, and Ace especially is harder on brakes than any track on the schedule. and I wanted to say this about Ace. Ace is such a driver's racetrack. Like, you have to have so much, I guess,
So
what's
much
the word?
finesse, but also,
Finesse. That's
yeah,
the word I'm looking for. That and racecraft, dude.
yeah,
That track is a whole lot less about your race car and a whole lot more about what you can do behind the wheel. And it shows because
it's
I mean,
fast too. It's
they're
fast.
fast. They're fast, but their brake rotors glowing. It's
Yeah,
almost, I don't want to say it's like a Martinsville because Martinsville for them is huge,
yeah,
but it's very unique. I love the way that drivers have to attack that racetrack to be fast, but you can't over attack that racetrack because you saw that's how they ended up letting Connor Hall get by. Is Ryan finally sent it off in there too hard, and knocked them both up the racetrack, and
yeah.
Connor went by him. But it was just lap after lap after lap after lap, and I was like, oh my gosh, is it ever gonna end?
There was a video I used to have on DVD. It was basically in highlights. This is something I watched as a kid that's super nostalgic to me. I go back and watch there's the clip or the the program I'm talking about is on YouTube now. They used to do it every year. It was a highlights reel narrated by Ken Squire of the season review of the NASCAR Cup Series. I used to have the one from 2002. I go back and watch that thing at least once a year. That was a very nostalgic and really honestly big piece of my childhood and how I understood racing. That was one of the best pieces of selling material to not only a kid, but I'm sure any adult out there watching that in real time. If we had that for the Cars Tour this year, narrated by Blake and Eric,
Oh gosh.
I mean, I'm telling you, dude, the grandstands would be packed every damn week. They'd blow out the server on Flow Racing because so many people would be watching this damn thing. I mean, the racing we see every damn week in the Cars Tour. It if you're not watching it, if you don't have a Flow subscription, what in the hell are you doing?
I don't know. The only thing I would cut out of it is, well, I know I'd leave it in there. Eric saying the rain's almost there 17 million times. Thank God the vortex theory works.
Hey, it's yeah. And for if you
He
guys
tried
don't
his best to jinx it, and I was like, Eric, stop.
if you guys don't know, if you are listening to this specifically for the late model content, we do a lot of other content on. We talk about NASCAR on here. We talk about IndyCar. We talk about specifically Shane Van Gisbergen, and because of that, we have a ton of Australia and New Zealand viewership. I don't know, like what time of day. I can't remember what time of day a car store race is for y'all, but I think it's prime time, damn near prime time for Australia and New Zealand. You guys need to get a Flow subscription and check this shit out. I mean,
Yeah.
it's incredible what we've seen just in the past couple weeks.
I don't think we've had a maybe you could call Wilkesboro a bad race. But other than that, I can't remember the last bad race we
I'm gonna be
had.
frank with you. It's better than most Cup short track races we've seen in the past 3 years.
Exactly. Like, that's why I don't want to call it a bad race. Because then I look at the Cup Series and I was like, well, in the Cup Series on Wilkesboro,
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
that wasn't so bad after all.
yeah.
But no, we're spoiled at this point. We're gonna get like a normal race one week, and we're gonna be like, oh man, what happened?
Yeah. And to kind of keep things on track here, the battle between Butterbean and Ryan Millington, it's a class. It was a classic battle in the car store. We've talked about it on here before. It is. It, it went on for the last 50 laps of the race up until they finally knocked each other out of the way, and that seems to be a common theme. It's every lap the knob just turns cranked a little bit more. The tension on the spring is just it's stretched just a little bit more. It's and finally it ends up it pops and someone gets turned. And that's exactly what happened. Butterbean gets into Ryan Millington and Chuck.
Yeah, Millington, I think he had a mechanical failure at that point. He was 14th. Butterbean got sent to the back, and this is actually a really good segue into
Yes.
the series policing. So he gets sent to the back for causing the incident. I don't think it was intentional. It looked goofy because they were both sideways, and then he just kind of he's pointed to the right, going into turn one and clips him, but I think he
Yeah.
was just trying to save the race car. I
I
don't think
think
it was intentional at all.
honestly, yeah, it looked to me like a kind of a racing deal. Like they kind of met in the
Yeah.
middle there.
And neither one of them, they were cool on Facebook about it with each other. They were
Yeah.
just like, yeah, that was fun. And it's what I appreciate is they understand, this is short track racing. This is what this series is. Nobody ever crossed, that line that Austin Dillon blew past at Richmond of fair and foul. Nobody ever crossed that line.
Yeah.
And then we had another example just a few laps later. Treyten Lapcevich got to the inside of Connor Hall, and Connor pinched him a little bit. Treyten sent it in there really hard into turn 3, and Treyten turned Connor around. Well, obviously Connor's going to the back because he just got spun out.
Yeah.
Well, they sent Treyten to the back too, and that one looked totally different than the 15 and the 03. So like, okay, they're being consistent. And then the following restart, Connor Jones is up front. They wreck on the back straightaway, and as they're going into 3, I don't think the caution lights were on yet, but I don't know if Connor's spotter is telling him, hey, they're wrecking, check up. But Chad McCumbee didn't get whatever message Connor Jones got. He just drove through the back of Connor Jones, spun Connor Jones out of the lead as the yellow comes out. And that looked like just miscommunication. That didn't look intentional either. Connor goes to the back, and so does Chad. So it's like, okay, you have 3 completely different examples of an incident that ended with the same result. And the series policed it in the same way. They said, we don't care how it happens. If you spin somebody, you're both going to the tail.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the consistency. And I appreciate them saying, look, this is the rule. This is how it is. And you're going to have to get used to it. Because that's how you, especially after what has happened the past couple weeks, the goofiness in the series, that's how you earn respect in your pit area is consistency. Competitors appreciate consistency, drivers, owners, and fans. We all appreciate consistency, and that's exactly what they showed on Friday night.
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of discussion in the NASCAR garage around where the line is, and that line is uh, painted neon orange on a black surface. It is not easy to miss. You know exactly where that line is. So,
Yeah.
uh, that's obviously great to see because we do see at the top level of motorsports in America, they have this problem, but yet the car store does stay consistent. There.
And
Anything else? Go ahead.
just kind of on that subject, somebody has to, right?
Yeah.
Because you have this top level of motorsports that in a way is teaching the younger generation bad habits. And even the group of guys possibly that are about to come into the cars tour or the youngest guys in the cars tour. Brent Crews is a really bad example because he's under the watchful eye of Kevin Harvick, who isn't going to deal with it. But people Brent's age who are coming into the series, they may watch what Austin Dillon did and be like, well, if he can do it, so can I. And the series is saying, no, that's not okay. I don't care what they have going on over there. That's their issue. But here you're going to race right. And
Yeah.
somebody has to teach the next generation of race car drivers what right and wrong is. And it starts in the grassroots level, and that's exactly what they're doing.
And if you really look at it too, and even not that he even wanted to, but Mini Tyrell hasn't won a race in 3 years. He had
Yeah.
every opportunity to knock Brent Crews out of the way to win that race. But I bet you, like I said, not that he wanted to, but I bet you it probably maybe crossed his mind and he thought better of it. Because if I if I send it in there and I nudge that 29 car and he goes around, I'm going to the back. I've seen it happen 3 times tonight. And because of that, we saw a good, clean, hard race to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And if you do it on the last lap, you've already seen you're not getting the win. So,
exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, with Horse Tour, we got great racing, we got great officiating, and notoriety is on the up and up. Stonks, baby. um, so, with that, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll come back and talk about the new closer, Brent Crews. So I've said it before, I've say it again. He drives for him, and I think he's adopted the nickname perfectly, Brent Crews. It already seemed like the place to be at Ace was third because we saw on how many separate occasions the leader get taken out and second go to the back. or something of that nature. You want you wanted at least a 2-car buffer because you were going to gain those spots eventually. So you didn't have to push too much. Brent ran about 5th or 6th the entire race. And even after Millington and Butterbean went to the back, he gained, up to 4th, 5th. And then eventually the seas parted and Brent Crews ends up in the lead and gets his 3rd win of the season. Chuck, tell me about Brent Crews.
So we're talking about a guy that is on an absolute heater
Yeah.
this summer.
Yeah.
In the past, so we do our Cars Tour power rankings for front stretch, and we break it down into 4 races at a time, plus the finale 17 race season. In the past 4 races, Brent Crews has finished, I believe his finishes are first, 10th, and 19th. Not in that order. That's just in numerical order. So obviously 2 wins at Caraway and Ace, neither of which he really had the best car. He would just put himself in the right position at the right time. And if he doesn't get involved in a wreck at North Wilkesboro and have a motor go south of Hickory, he could be like where Connor Hall is right now.
Yeah, just
Double digit points in the lead.
Yeah,
Like they
and
had fast cars in those races too.
and just to correct you, you said first, 19th at first. That's
Did I say I
yeah.
meant he has 2 wins, a 10th, and a 19th.
Okay, there you go.
Sorry,
Yeah,
my bad. I thought I
yes,
said 10.
yeah. He does have 3 firsts. You did get that right. Obviously, he won at Orange County earlier this year. We like we said before on the show, Brent Crews has he every lesson that he could take from any race. He's taken it and he's taken it in stride and put it to good use and he rarely makes mistakes. And because of that, I mean, he's got the racecraft, he's got the speed, he's obviously got the team around him. I don't see how Brent Crews isn't the favorite for this championship right now because the other guys, Carson Quapple, he missed another race this week, running Michigan. He saw he had kind of gave his brother the nod, and he got the ride in the 8 car this weekend. And Caden gave the nod back and drove the black number 8 to a decent run. It was not a Quapple 4-peat at Ace, but
Well, he did win the Pro Late Model
he did.
race.
Yes, he
Double
did.
double podiums. I mean, either way, they've got that place figured out.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And Quapple is a whole lot easier to pronounce than Ottawa or whatever the hell the town is, right? But to get back to it, I mean, you look at Connor Hall, you look at Butterbean. Butterbean and Connor Hall already don't like each other. And like we saw at Ace, the seas just parted for Brent Crews. And the seas might just be parting for him to go after this championship.
Yeah, I mean, he's 15 back.
Yeah.
And Carson Quapple he's not in this conversation anymore because he's not racing this weekend either. So whenever Carson shows up again, he's racing for wins. Minnie's not racing this weekend at Wake County. So that's going to cost him. So you're basically down to a 3-horse race. And like you said, you have the 2 guys who don't like each other. Everybody seems to be after Connor Hall. So that's going to hurt him. And Butterbean, they can't seem to get out of their own way sometimes.
Yeah.
They should have at least finished 2nd at Wilkesboro, and he lost 3 spots on a late race restart.
Yeah.
If he had been a little more patient with Ryan Millington, he probably wins at Ace, if not 2nd.
Yeah.
And they've shown, Brent has shown where the other 2 have the speed and make the mistakes. They might not have the speed every week, but he's not going to make mistakes. And when you get down into a championship battle at the end of this season, it's going to come down to who makes the least amount of mistakes. The only thing I worry about with them is, are they going to have speed at North Wilkesboro?
Yeah.
Because they haven't.
Yeah.
And they need to.
I'm sure they're going to go to work. Obviously, Kevin ran at Wilkesboro, and I'm sure they're going to put a lot of work into getting that car ready and getting those KHI cars better for Wilkesboro. Obviously, you mentioned Butterbean, Connor Hall. Connor Hall's got a target on his back. I called him the Matador a couple weeks ago. He's in that red car, and he's got a lot of angry bulls and he's got the like I just said, red car which looks like the red Matador little flag they hang out there. So yeah, excuse my analogies there. And then Butterbean, like you said, can't get it out of his own way and tends to get tangled up in something and just mess up in the front. And then we're going to a quarter-mile bull ring at Wake County. All the ingredients. I mean, all Brent Crews has to do, in my opinion, right now, if things keep going the trajectory they're going, is avoid the situation where he's got juggers on the left and clowns on his right, and he end up stuck in the middle. So
So just run fifth all night.
run fifth all night, and you'll end up third at least from what, the last couple
Probably
weeks.
so.
Yeah.
Probably so.
But yeah, it is the championship picture we said a couple weeks ago. It is wide open. It is now down to 3 big contenders. We got Butterbean, obviously. Who knows what he's doing next year? Could be going truck racing. He's, caught the eye of TRD and all of the NASCAR world. Connor Hall had a great run at Richmond a couple weeks ago. Brent Crews obviously has a lot of eyes on him, but he's still young and he could be setting himself up. I don't know what his plans are for next year, but if he runs the car store again, could be setting himself up for a big year next year as well. But not to get too far ahead of ourselves, because we do have a race this weekend. We're going to get a quick word from frontstretch.com, talk about the upcoming race at Wake County Speedway. Frontstretch.com is where you'll find all your racing content in one place for free. They have it all from NASCAR to F1 to IndyCar, grassroots racing, and even iRacing. Front Stretch has you covered with daily news for every series, weekly columns, and even on-site coverage at every NASCAR and Cars Tour event. Head over to frontstretch.com, subscribe to their YouTube page, and give them a follow on X to get your daily fix on all things motorsports.
As always, big thank you to frontstretch.com for allowing us to use the content that we get with them in our shows. Unfortunately, no content this week. I was unable to be at the racetrack, and we had some other stuff happen over on the Front Stretch side where people were unable to be there. Friday night race, hard to find somebody else last second. Nobody's fault. Stuff just happens. But anyway, if you want to check out all of our Car Store content, make sure you head over to frontstretch.com or Front Stretch Grassroots on YouTube. We've got some big things coming up soon. We're going to be trying out some new content, so go over there, like, subscribe, do whatever, and do the same here. We're always trying to grow this channel, and we might have more Car Store content here soon.
You're darn right. We didn't have any boots on the ground at Ace, but us both will be at Wake County Speedway this weekend. It's my home track. If you guys didn't know already, I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, so it's about a hop, skip, and a jump for me to get to Wake County. We saw a great race there last year. We were hoping they would come back. There were some questions of when or if, and they were answered. And we're going to run Wake County this weekend. Chuck, what are we going to see?
A lot of hurt feelings.
Yeah.
The entry list is kind of small. There's a lot of names that are regulars in the series that aren't on the entry list this week. I think that just stems from the past 2 weeks. We've seen a lot of torn up race cars.
Yeah.
People maybe not happy with a couple decisions that have been made with the series. And then you're going to a quarter mile where people are going to have their stuff torn up. So there's 18 cars on the entry list. That's really light. That's the lightest one of the year by far. It's just about, I think, the lightest entry list we've had since the beginning of last year. So hopefully we can get those numbers back up when we head down to Florence. And I think we will, because Florence is a big deal.
The big deal. And
yeah, big deal, and big names are going to be there. So,
yeah, of course.
and it's just the nature of quarter mile racing. There's going to be some locals that'll have their chance at Wake County to get their name in the spotlight. So that's always a good thing. Hopefully, maybe, and if you have a local guy that does really good, maybe he wants to sign on and run the tour next year. So there's always a positive and everything, always open opportunities, but you're going to have the same 3 championship contenders still battling it out the front.
Yeah, and you say open opportunity, and with the shorter entry list, it leaves some open racetrack. We saw last year, everybody was on top of everybody. We've seen that a lot at quarter mile racing, whether it be all the way from the Cup Series all the way down to the Car Store. There's going to be room to race. We're going to see a great race with Connor Hall, Butterbean, and Brent Crews. Of course, you mentioned the local drivers. Who's going to be in the 8 car this weekend?
Caden Quapple again.
Caden Quapple is going to be in it again. Obviously, Carson won at Wake County last year. He won't be there to defend his title, but Quapple will. Chuck, Hit me with it. What is your question of the week?
Question of the week, man. So we're gonna have more where this came from this weekend at Wake County, and not just from Buddy, but from plenty of other people, including hopefully some drivers. But my question for you is: we heard the announcement last week, I believe that was last weekend, that NASCAR will be taking the Clash to Bowman Gray.
Okay.
In a hypothetical world, would you be for or against the Cars Tour racing at Bowman Gray Stadium?
Well, it would be I think it would be huge for the series. I think especially with you see the success of the Wilkesboro race and how big that is for the car store. Now that the Cup Series is going to Bowman Gray, I think it would be a great idea for the Cars Tour to follow him there. Obviously, not going to run the same week, or maybe do. I don't know. That's all. That's that's up to Kevin and Dale and all those Kip and all them to make that decision. But I think for that reason, I think yeah, we probably should go to Bowman Gray Stadium now. If the Cup Series wasn't going there, debatable. Uh, I'll leave my if you want to know my true feelings about Bowman Gray Stadium, and I say stadium, not racetrack, for a reason. Go listen to the Big Motor Small Blade podcast this past week, and you get my honest opinion. But I think I think it would be a big event for the Cars Tour, if done right. And so I think for that sake, I think it'd be probably a good move.
So I'm going to defend Bowman Gray a little bit here.
Huh?
Since NASCAR has become in charge, they're under the NASCAR regional banner, and they've
Mhm.
gotten a little better about, enforcing some of the what was that.
I do want to say real quick, Cars Tour can show the Bowman Gray fans what real racing is, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay, so I think there's probably a lot of people who would not want to go there and run for points, and probably rightfully so. Because especially if it's an open entry list and not an invite only entry list, you never know what
Yeah,
is going to happen there.
yeah.
But the opportunity that I see, and I'm just going to throw this out there, the NASCAR Mexico Series went to the Clash at LA this year, and it didn't work out the way they wanted it to because of the weather, but they were on TV
Yeah.
for the first time ever when they were in conjunction with just the Cup cars at the Clash. What is stopping the Cars Tour from having an exhibition race to open their season the night before the Clash and being on national television for the first time ever?
What's stopping them is it's not the NASCAR Cars Tour series.
If you think that
In my opinion.
if you think NASCAR doesn't have their hand in the Cars Tour, you're sadly mistaken.
Well, I mean, we know that, but
I'm just saying.
I can't see that. I mean,
I'm.
and I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong in
I
this.
think it's a golden opportunity if they could work it out.
It's a hell of an opportunity. Absolutely, offer a nice big
And even
purse.
if you don't, go on national television, go run the night before anyway
Yeah,
and be on flow.
yeah,
Because all
exactly.
those fans are going to be there anyway. So you can open up the Cars Tour to a whole new batch of fans, and it doesn't have to be for points. Just put 20,000 on the line and go run.
After Cup qualifying, like yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be really great. It's a great idea. I think it'd be huge for the series. If done right, I'll put it like that. Um, but with that, I think that's all we got.
I do believe that is all we have this week. So if you're going to go to Wake County, come find us. We'll both be walking around.
Yes, we will.
Seth will be there as well if you want to talk to him. I don't know that any of
I
you
don't know.
guys do,
Yeah,
but the guy's kind of weird. I'm just kidding. Seth, we love Seth. We love Seth.
yeah. But yeah, I don't know. With that, go support your local short tracks and make sure you come to Wake County Speedway this weekend.